thin, like Ibanez Wizard necks. People love them. But there's a reason why you don't see those guitars a lot anymore, because all the necks are like this or this. You know, that's what happened in my Hammer Diablo after about 275 gigs. You know, like that poor guitar. I do miss it, but it was just like the neck was so thin on it. It was like Ibanez Wizard thin, but it was like almost as smooth as this in shape, where the Ibanez Wizard's a little bit more chunky in shape, but it's just, you know, really flat, right? So Ibanez Wizard is kind of more like a U shape, right? I do love these really soft dihedral C shapes. They're just naturally fit your hand so well. Again, might not be everybody's cup of tea, but if you were to live with this guitar for a year, this will become your favorite neck. Gibson SG61 reissue is my favorite neck of all time, profile wise, but I even think this I like better. You know what I mean? That tells you a lot. So this is a great compromise neck for chords when you really want to lay into it and thrash into it. Much comfier than I find like the Jackson Speed necks, which I love them, don't get me wrong, or the Ibanez Wizard necks. Those guitar necks are great for shredding, but I find they're not as great for chords. This neck is really great for shredding, but it's also really great for chords. It's better for chords than I find the other guitars. Where if you were to get, like, say, a Strat or a Les Paul, they're fantastic for chords and a little more cumbersome and bulky for shredding. But I don't have that same neck profile snobbery that I used to. And again, I think a lot of it is just, you know, you think you have to have the flattest neck ever. It doesn't work like that. I think the refinement of the neck is more important than how flat it actually is or how knobby it is or whatever. And this is a very fast neck. It is just so, with the ebony fingerboard, absolutely second to none. A lot of guitars at double the price are nowhere near as good as this guitar for playability and stuff like that. The bridge is just absolutely phenomenal on these things. So yes, PRS can make metal guitars, but they don't make very many. You know, they make a few. They don't make any metal guitars, you know, phenomenal metal guitars for cheap. You know, like you're gonna spend some money, but they do make good guitars. Classic rock, they make phenomenal guitars. But if you want modern sounds, like you want to play like symphonic metal, maybe even deathcore with that thing, you no problem. You can do it with this one too. You can do those sounds with these guitars, right? You can do the Steve Vai, Eddie Van Halen thing with these guitars. You're not going to be really doing the Stevie Ray Vaughan sounds with these guitars. You're not going to get Stevie Ray Vaughan with this. You're not going to get... You can get a sort of Angus Young-y kind of sound with it, but you're going to sound like a modern Angus Young. You know what I mean? So these aren't classic rock guitars. These are futuristic metal guitars. A lot of it has to do with the pickups, but the playability has a lot to do with it. The fretwork on these guitars are fantastic. Not a dead fret on either guitar. And they don't buzz very much either. And the action, you know, I have it up a little higher. I have it at factory setting, higher than I normally like, but it's like, I don't know if I'm going to change it just because when you really lay into these guitars with chords and stuff like that, they just sound so good, and they play well enough that any little extra effort I have to do for like sweeping arpeggios or something like that, which I'm still working on, the action is still fantastic on it. And again, I haven't had to touch anything yet. Now, what I might do is when I'll probably have to do re-intonate when I you know, start putting that thing into drop tunings. That thing has been in standard tuning since I got it. This thing, I'm now using that tuning. I'll play around with that for probably another month, then go back to drop C and then maybe try something else. I don't know what next tuning I'm going to try. But that was one of the things about this guitar, was this was going to be my guitar that's going to go into all the weird tunings. Whatever. But yeah, give them a tryout. So, you know, am I the number one PRS fan of these guitars? Yeah, like, I mean, it's really hard for me to walk into a music store, pick something up, play it, and say, oh, it's better than what I got at home. You know what I mean? And that's what you're looking for with a guitar. So I could see me like my SG3, which is still my best playing guitar I've ever owned, followed by Probably my Hammer Diablo, followed by one of these guys. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard to pick my best playing guitars because they all play so well. You know, like you got to split hairs. But these are really good. So I guess I'll leave it at about that. I know I tend to drone on and drone on and drone on, but yeah. So you can hear a lot of samples of these guitars. It's through the GoPro mic, so they're not going to be phenomenal sound, but you'll get an idea of what kind of aggression you can get out of these guitars. So if you're looking for modern sounds, think symphonic metal, thrash metal, heavy stuff. These guitars will give it to you. If you're thinking blues and country stuff, these are not your guitars. Look at the other PRSs instead. They're much better suited for that. And the nice thing about PRSs is that the SE models, they start at about $700-800. You can get a pro guitar for under $1,000 from PRS. Mahogany body, maple neck, rosewood fingerboard. Like there's your SG, your Les Paul right there for like $800-900. You know what I mean? Like, and in a Stratocaster scale length, right? Fender scale length. Need not want. All right, anyway, there you go. So that's my take on that. And have yourselves a great day, eh?